Today on High Voltage Diesel, we are going to do something that I don't see anybody else on the internet doing because it seems like it's a big secret. But you know what? We're not going to be afraid to talk about it. So let's talk about it. So I see a ton of people fixing up old cars on the internet, on YouTube, on videos, on Facebook, on different forums, and I see all kinds of great work and pictures and just people talking about their projects, and I love it and it's great. But I see one thing that nobody ever talks about. I never see anybody talk about how much it costs to put money into these cars and fix them up and get them looking nice and get a beautiful paint job. So today we're gonna talk about money, and you're gonna figure out what it took to get where we are now. And if you follow my channel, you're gonna see how much it costs to get this car where it's gonna be in each stage. So I picked this Impala up about 2 months ago, and I've been working on it little by little. This car is in pretty darn good shape for what it is. All in all, she's in good shape. Really good shape. The underneath of it's nice. Floor pan's got some rot on it. Go back and watch my other videos on this car. We had some rot on this quarter. We fixed up nice. We're gonna be doing some more of that. This fender's got a little rot. And we do not have an engine or any kind of drivetrain in this thing. The interior is in somewhat decent shape. It's mostly complete except for the headliner and seats and all that crap, but that's no big deal for what we're doing. We're not doing a nut and bolt restoration on this particular car. This car needs a big block Chevy. So I went out and found a 454 for this car. We're currently rebuilding that, doing a mild rebuild, a completely redneck rebuild. Everything we do on this channel is pretty much a redneck rebuild. We don't do anything right, we do everything wrong, and we always get a case of the "you can't do that." So if you don't want to be triggered or you don't want to have an armchair meltdown, click to the next video and you can get sugar coated by somebody else. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and I am going to tell you what I have in this car so far, what I've gotten for it roughly, and material wise what I've gotten for it, and the work we've done, which isn't much, and I'm going to tell you kind of what we plan on doing. So we're just going to take a quick walk around and we're going to show you what we got done so far and kind of what direction we're heading. So far we got the roof done. We're doing a decent job. We got the roof all in primer ready to paint. The back window track around here was completely rotted, so we had to make all new pieces and completely redo that. The trunk has been all redone, ready to paint. So basically from the roof to the trunk is ready to paint. This quarter we're still doing a little bit of butchering on. Pulled the front windshield out. Got a little bit of damage there we gotta fix, no big deal. So material wise for everything, I'm not gonna talk about labor because depending on your skill level, things will take longer or shorter time depending on how good or bad you are. I mean, if you're better than me, which you probably are, then you'll have this car done in just a commercial break, just like the shows have it. So I went through and I made a list because normally you get these cars and within a couple years you're like, man, how much money do I have in this thing? And nobody really knows, and for some reason nobody ever wants to talk about it. So this car I've only had for a couple months. This is kind of smart to do because any classic car you get is an investment. So this car, I don't have that much into it right now, so it's not too late to go back in my history and look at receipts and find out roughly how much I got and where I am today. Because I think that'll help a lot of people decide on the project that they want to do and how deep they want to get into it and kind of their skill level. So we got our 1970 Chevy Impala, your typical car. Most of the stuff you're gonna need for it. You're gonna need primer, you're gonna need Bondo, Duraglass. You're gonna need a lot of sandpaper. And you're just gonna need like miscellaneous stuff. I'm gonna put the miscellaneous stuff at the bottom. And that's like window urethane and just other stuff like that. And we're gonna talk about paint supplies. And when I talk about paint, I'm gonna talk about the paint, the reducer, the clear, and kind of that kind of stuff, maybe all in one bracket here to make it simple. So right now, what I have in this car right now, so I have primer, which is $125. Bondo and Duraglass, I have $80. Sandpaper, I have $115. And as far as paint goes, I don't have the paint for it yet, but I just have like a gallon of reducer and some other just materials that you need for paint. So we're just gonna say about a gallon of reducer price right now, which is about $75. Our miscellaneous stuff, JB Weld, window urethane, stuff like that, I have about $75 in. So right now, just in the bodywork of the car, no parts, just kind of bodywork, we have a grand total of $470, roughly. $470 I have in the bodywork supplies of this car right now. I don't keep track of my hours because I work in this in spurts, kind of a few minutes here, a few minutes there, hours at a time, kind of what it is. What I've done so far, what I just explained to you what I did, I probably have about 40 hours into this, making all these panels and stuff like that. Roughly, I don't really know, but that's approximately what I think, because a lot of it is messing around. But actual work, I probably got about 40 hours. There's a lot of work that goes into this kind of stuff, a lot of time. And I had a spray gun in my hand at 3 years old, so my experience level, just take it for what it's worth. And you can judge that depending on what you think of my videos. You know, and a secret with this stuff is, yeah, I bought an entire box of sandpaper. This is just one grit. This is just 40. And yes, you'll use that on other projects. It's impossible. I'm not going to keep track of literally every single piece of sandpaper, every single drop of Bondo I use, because I also do some stuff on the side, but I'm going to try to keep track the best I can of what we have into this car. You'll end up buying a whole roll of sandpaper. I have 80 there, 180, 320. We're going to use all this stuff, but I had to buy it. I had to come up with it from the start. We have cans of etch primer. We have tape. Actually, you use a lot of tape, so we're actually going to go through and add tape and etch primer. Etch primer is very expensive. I got at least 2 cans into this right now. 35 bucks a can, there's $70. And I easily got 2 rolls of tape into this. So at $5 a roll roughly for the medium grade tape, there's $10 right there. So we're gonna change our grand total to $550 right now. And I'm sure I have some other little things in it. We're gonna try to give a good ballpark of what about it costs to get where we're at. So it cost me $570. Yes, yes, yes. We have sandpaper left over, we have primer left over, we have plenty of materials left over, but that is about the initial investment if you're starting with no materials that you're gonna have to get where we are right now. So let's just say I have $570 and what you see done right now. That's not counting electricity, about 100 million cases of beer, about 10,000 sandwiches and all that stuff. That's just the basic materials. You know, and nobody ever talks about this either. I'm not really gonna get involved in it because you know what? You can make a million different deals. But I will tell you guys that for the 70 Impala, I paid $2,000. So it cost me a whopping $2,000 for this wild piece of junk. And I think in today's market, I got a pretty darn good deal on it, because most people want $5,000 for something that's completely toast and there's absolutely nothing left. Yeah, we have some damage on this car we gotta fix. Yeah, the floor pans are a little bit, you know, a little bit on the rough side, but not too bad. But the car in general, I think, is in very good shape for what I paid for it. We're not gonna sit here and say we got $2,550 in this car, because your project car might cost $5,000, it might cost $1,000, it might cost $500. Or if you buy a 67 Camaro with a tree growing up through it, it'll cost you 50 grand and then you'll have to put another 80 into it. So let's just scratch the cost of the car out of it. The next thing we have to talk about is how much money do we have in the big old prime mover that's going under the hood. So we have a 454 prime mover that we're gonna build up, that's gonna go under the hood of this thing, and we are doing a complete redneck rebuild on it. This 454 came out of a motorhome and it had a bent rod. Actually, speaking of Carl right there he is. He had enough and he almost had it out, but there's the killer of this 454. But it didn't kill nothing. I went through and I took this thing out and I cleaned it up and I honed the cylinders, and we're gonna do a redneck rebuild on this thing. This motor only has about 20,000 miles on it, and it's not going to the machine shop because it just doesn't need it. See, you guys that watch me regularly are actually gonna get a sneak peek at a couple things, so check this out. So we got some Speedmaster Speed Pro pistons for our big old prime mover here. 10cc dome. Not buying expensive stuff. We're not buying expensive stuff at all. And in these boxes we have some Speedmaster connecting rods, some Summit Racing, I don't know what they are, bearings, and some other junk that we got. And we got some main studs, oil filter adapter. So how much money do we have in our prime mover, which is a 454? So these are the parts that we have for our prime mover. Pistons, $285. That's pistons, rings, wrist pins. Our rods were $293. Our bearings were $70. That's for rod and main bearings. Our studs, Speedmaster studs, are $40. And then we have the oil filter adapter that we needed to get to screw the oil filter up on the bottom, and that was $40. So right now, with just these parts, we are at $718 for our prime mover, which adds up pretty quick. As far as the cost of the prime mover, I'm not gonna get into that because I kind of made a deal with the guy, and basically it's the same thing with the car. You can spend anywhere from free to $1,000 to $20,000 for a 454, and even more than that. This is the one that we have. So if you get a prime mover that's in roughly the same shape as mine, and you want to do roughly the same kind of job, that's about what you're going to have into it. So with that being said, with our 70 Impala right now, the way she sits, we got a 454 with some junk Chinese parts in it. We got 718 in the prime mover. We got 550 in the junk car. We got about $1,300 roughly in the car and the engine. And folks, as time goes on, I'm gonna try to do it in every video. I'm gonna do it in the videos where I buy new stuff, so make sure you stay tuned, because obviously if I don't buy anything, then I don't have any more money than I had in this video. I'm gonna explain what I bought and kind of how much money I have into the car, the way it sits in each video. Now remember, this is 2025. 10 years ago, you'd probably have a lot less in a car to be where we're at right now. Probably for the money that we have into this car, you'd be having a nice car and driving it. And probably in 20 years from now, 3,300 bucks will probably just buy you a headlight. In the videos coming up, I'm not gonna include the money that I paid for the car. It's only gonna be for materials, parts, and that kind of stuff. That's how much money we have in it. It's irrelevant how much I paid for the car. If you are one of them sweet people that want a project car to work on, and you're just wondering, how much is it gonna cost me? How much, because it's a huge question. Now you have an idea, and if you keep watching my videos, you're gonna see about how much I have in this piece of junk every step of the way, so you can kind of plan and budget what you're gonna do. And until the next high voltage production, I hope you guys learned a little something in this video. and I hope you hit that subscribe button so we could see this thing running. End of transmission.